Welcome back to Twisted Metal Customs. You're with Twisty and we're in the TMC workshop. And yeah, we've got the hoist, we've got the sign, we've been working on the jail bar, been working on the GMC, been working on the Sylvia and the Skyline. Skyline's going to be a video up soon because it's all boosted now. Just waiting for some boost piping, but it's a NA plus T R32 Skyline. Sylvia's actually working, I fixed it, it's going really good. So I just showed a little bit of a sneak peek of the next video, but this is a new project that I have wheeled and dealed my way into with some swaps, and I'm really excited to show you this one. It's probably going to be the next one on the road. It's so close, but needs panel and paint and interior, but it's really, really cool. And yeah, but before we can get into that, we're working on the Valiant. And because I have purchased this or traded for this, my plans for this have now changed. Originally, I was going to go a 440 big block, which I have rebuilt on the channel, just a stock rebuild, and just an auto gearbox, and just have it like a grandpa spec, just a daily. But now I've got this other build, this one here, I'm going to flip it. So the 440 may or may not go with it, depending on the asking price or what people will offer me for the motor combo. But at this very point, I'm going to sell this as a roller, but rust repaired and primed and painted. So that's today's episode. We're gonna get started onto this because I am broke and I need some more money to finish this off. Okay, so it smells much better. Actually, I've got some odor killer I might spray in there, but it's a lot of years of mouse pee and poo and everything on those carpet. It was just so bad. Anyway, the floor isn't too bad. So it's a quick vacuum. You see the back end is perfect, progressively, not too bad. And then the worst part is just in that little corner there. It's actually broken through right in the corner here. A fair bit of pinning in that dark area. I should all clean up with a wire wheel, excluding that internal corner, like I have to do a repair there. The other side, it's fine, it's not broken through. Again, wire wheel and rust treating with fur tan, bit of primer, you know, whatever. But pretty good. Found a few little knickknacks. I mean, a lot of it got sucked up in the vacuum, but a lot of 5-cent coins. I just grabbed a couple, but a couple of bullets. Got a 22 Magnum, and an old bush boy like myself. I will dispose of them the best way I know how. And I'm not going to tell you how I do that. It's not shooting them, but you know, I don't want to put anything like that on YouTube. But yeah, a couple of bullets. Don't chuck them in the bin. If you don't know how to get rid of them properly, just ring up cop shop, your local cop shop, and just, you know, because you don't want to chuck them in the bin. That is deadly right now. Once the lead's removed, it's not deadly. So I'll get them disposed of, and yeah, so otherwise pretty good. I'd like to just take this time in this video to shout out for the sponsor, bloody legend, best sponsor I've ever had, myself. So if you like this video, go to my merch shop and buy a couple of shirts or some jumpers for winter, whatever. Go to my Amazon, buy some your parts and stuff through there. Every little dollar counts, especially for this you know, TMC workshop, self-business, DIY sort of setup I've got going on here. So, all right. So, pretty much up to the point now where I'm just going to start doing rust repairs. And I have pretty much gone over this a lot in a lot of my previous videos. So, I'm going to condense this. So, if you're really looking for the how-to stuff, go back to like the XW, the XP Falcon, even the FJ45. A lot of detailed rust repair videos in there, but I'll give you the condensed version here for what to do. So basically, find your rust, and now you don't know how bad it is, obviously, until you start cutting out, but I can see that this whole section and even underneath here is a little bit you know, thin, and I can just jam my screwdriver until it goes through. Sort of just feel it, like it just feels a little bit thin. I'm cutting this out, and then we're gonna have 2 big holes, and then we're gonna have a look inside, vacuum it out, blow it out, and see how bad it is. And that's the first step, is basically just identifying how bad the rust is or how much you have to cut out. And then, yeah, it could be the whole way. And then that's like, okay, well, I'm gonna buy a rust repair panel from Rare Spares or some other supplier. So let's go cut it out. I'll just cut out 2 little sections here. And as you can see, it's a little bit rusty on the bottom. And I've done like a screwdriver puncture test all the way along, and it sounds really thin. And there's a lot of sections there that are actually quite thin enough to let the screwdriver push through. And that's just going to be too thin to repair. And you know, even if you cut out the rust now and repair the broken through sections, it's not something that you really want to do for quality. You know, it might be okay for between 1 month and 5 years, you don't know, but it's just too far gone and too thin to, even if you address the rust inside and you know, rust kill it, fur tan, gloss black, whatever, it's just too thin. Like, you get a good rock and it's going to punch it through. So I just checked the other side, and it's pretty much the same. So both sills on both sides are pretty much non-repairable. So what I've got to do now is 2 things. One, see if I can find a replacement sill, like at the outer skin, same as the XW that we did. Hopefully it's not too dear, see what they're worth, blah, blah, blah. Now I'm gonna go around the other sections of rust before I go buy anything, and to see how much rust we have, really go over the car, check the chassis rails, check everything, because if there's parts of this car that aren't repairable, then there's just no point. Just sell it as like a, yeah, you know, just a rusty parts car or something, you know. I've got a bit of a hole there. So far, I'm still 50-50 whether I want to continue on with this. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 other rust bubbles that have come through, so the whole section there will just be cut out. Look, it's not big jobs, but there's a lot of little jobs, and I've just got to weigh up with my profit margin and all this time in doing all the rust repair to sell it painted. You know, I've got to work out, make sure I'm not undercutting myself, you know. Does that make sense? So I've got to actually go home and do some research on how much all these panels are going to cost. For the 2 sills are about 140 bucks each, so it's 250 bucks, and how long it's going to take for me to cut it all out and re-weld it in. I would say 40 to 80 hours of rust repair on this car, you know, so you work that out, you know. So by the time I do all the rust repair and then panel work and then paint, you know, I'm pretty much just better off just either selling it now as is for a couple of grand, or do all that work and then sell it. Yeah, I'll get paid more money, but that time is also wasted doing the repair. So it's, you know, profit margin, that's what you've got to look at when you're sort of doing this for a business, I guess. So I'm going to go home and think about that, and whether it's going to be sold with a 440 big block or as a roller, I don't know yet. So really don't know. All right, I'm back. It's the morning time, and I've been thinking about this Valiant, and I could sell it now, break even, or do it all up and break even, if that makes sense. So that's why I was making a hard decision whether I do it up or not on the channel, or just sell it as is and just sort of move on. So we're going to do it up over time, do some videos on it, learn together, make some cool stuff, make some tools for it, and yeah. It was a pretty finicky little spot. I had to repair the inner and then, yeah, the outer and stuff. But I'm working on this outside bend now. It's a pretty tricky piece. So this is the section here that I'm building on the other side, and it's actually quite a tricky piece because you've got a lot of internal corners and then external corners straight away, and it's also curved. So a new addition to the workshop is I've saved up some money. The thing was like 80 bucks. Can't remember 100 bucks or 80 bucks, but it's a leather like rice bag or sandbag for like hammering. And I didn't actually buy the nylon hammer because I couldn't afford it. There's only 3 hammers in a kit that this guy sells, but it was 220 bucks. And I didn't really need 3 hammers. I just wanted one. Other than buying it from the US with $60 postage, Australia doesn't sell it. So watch this space. I might import like, I don't know, 100 hammers and see if I can sell them individually or something later on down the track. Anyway, that's what I've been using to get the curve on the panel. My shrinker doesn't seem to be shrinking anymore, so it doesn't really want to shrink this corner. And that's my piece I've made. I know it looks horrific, but it takes time, and I'm sort of learning and having fun as I go. So what I want to build now is a tucking tool. You would have seen tucking tools before. If not, it's basically just a forked prong that you put in here, and you turn it one way and turn it the other way, and it makes a big like pinch, and then you can hammer that pinch in and shrink that corner. You know, it's a simple tool. It works really well, and I haven't got one, so I'm going to make one. So let's make one together. I've just got this 10 by, I don't know, 25 mil chunk of steel. Should work. And yeah, let's get into making this. Obviously, people make these out of bolts or some just solid rod and then weld that to a handle, which would make more sense, but I don't think I've got anything strong enough in the shop, so I'm just going to give this a go for a rough tool, and then if it works good and I like it, I'm going to make a nice tool later. So I'm going to get into making that, and then I'll show you the finished result. Alrighty, this is what I've come up with. Yeah. So just ground that down and then just round it off the edges. Seems like I should do alright. It's probably not perfect, but it'd be good a test, see whether I can use it, and if so, I'll just buy one made if this doesn't work, but I'm pretty sure that's pretty close. If anything, they gap at the end, maybe a little bit too big, like in the middle, but well, I guess we'll see. Alright, so basically I wanted to shrink this side, so I'll just go along, put that in there, not that far in, but maybe about, I don't know, 20 mil. And I want to do a tuck one way. I've already hammered this, so it's pretty brittle. One way, and then I go the other way. Oh yeah, that looks pretty good. That's it. Go through and do some more of them. That's your 3. Now, you hammer in that crease, just the tip. You hammer down in that direction. You hammer down in that direction, and hammer down in that direction to then push all that metal together. And once that's flat, and that will still have a bubble, then you hit that bubble down and it will fatten the metal and squish it together. So cap off the end and then hit in a bubble, and you can keep repeating that process until you get the right curve. But that looks pretty good. I'm pretty happy with that. Saved myself 20 bucks. Only took me 20 minutes. Well, about 1 hour later, this is where I'm at. So that's the piece that I made with the tuck tool. And I know it's not going to win any awards, but at the moment, it's looking pretty good. I had to cut it down there and add another triangle in. That came up pretty good. Yeah, I've got to clean up all the welds, finish welding this off, and I'll show you when it's done. Well, I've been working on this Valiant for pretty much all today, so 7 hours today and an hour yesterday, so 8 hours, and you've seen everything that I've done in those 8 hours. So the inner and the outer whole corner, and then that top, big crack section, and then a couple other welds in there, that top section there, and that in there. So that's not bad. I mean, like, it takes time. Rust repair takes time. It's very messy. It's pretty hard work. I've got to keep working on this GMC. I've got the whole back section there pretty well mocked up and semi-restored. So I need to put some epoxy primer on that. I'll be working on that for the rest of the week, but I'm going to do some epoxy primer, and at the same time, I'm going to paint everything here as well in epoxy primer, not etch primer, not rattle can, not anything except for epoxy primer, because for the outside of the car, or anywhere you can get to, that's what it should have as your foundation. I'm going to also spray up inside as much as I can to give it all rust protection. So I think that's a lot of talking and garbage and stuff to feed your YouTube requirements for this week. So I'm going to end the video here. As I said, I've got some more work to do this week, and then the next video will be pretty much, I guess you've already guessed what it is if you're a certain car fan. But yeah, anyway, full reveal on the next episode. So, but in the meantime, I'll be doing some more work on this in my spare time and get another video out for some more rust repairs. Got to do the 2 seals and just more stuff like this, just localized rust sections. And yeah, we'll get this beast painted, and maybe one of you guys can buy it. We'll see. Yeah, if you are interested, let me know. And I also had that 440 big block, so hit me up, and you might even want to take it off my hands earlier than, later. Just, you might want to do the repairs yourself. Anyway, cheerio. See you on the next one. Looking forward to this one. And don't forget, merch, Amazon, like, subscribe. Much appreciated. And that's it. See you later.